All right, today we're going to dive into a huge idea, something that's, well, it's pretty radical when you really think about it. We're talking about the love of one's fate. It's a concept that challenges us to look at our entire life, the good, the bad, all of it, and embrace it with love. So let's get into it.
So let me just ask you this straight up. Could you actually love everything that's ever happened to you? And I don't just mean the triumphs and the happy moments. I mean the failures, the pain, the things you really, truly regret. Could you look at the whole messy picture of your life and say yes to all of it? That's the big question we're wrestling with today.
So, what do we call this philosophy? What's the term at the heart of all this? Okay, so the term is Latin amor fati. It literally means love of one's fate. But, and this is super important, this is not just passive acceptance. This isn't just shrugging your shoulders and saying, well, it is what it is. No, no, no. It's something way more powerful. It's an active, passionate practice of embracing every single thing that happened.
Just listen to how absolute this is. It's about wanting nothing to be different. Not wishing for a better future, not dwelling on a different past, not for all of time. It's a complete and total yes to your reality exactly as it is. But here's a really crucial point. This isn't some cold, detached philosophy you think about from an armchair. The source material is really clear on this. To love your fate, you have to be fully alive first. You have to be willing to get your hands dirty, to embrace, as it puts it, the blood and dirt of this earth. This is a philosophy for people engaged in the messy reality of life, not for those trying to escape it. You know, to really get how powerful amor fati is, I think it helps to look at the opposite, the way most of us, let's be honest, instinctively react to hard times. The source actually calls this mindset the fugitive from a self. This is a mindset that's just trapped. It's a world where misery and regrets are on a constant, painful loop. It's when you find yourself wishing, bargaining with the universe. If only this had happened instead. This kind of spirit gets shattered by the very things it can't change. And get this, even its hope is described as a kind of lie, something that's really just born from resentment against what actually happened. You end up on the run from your own life story. So let's just lay it all out here. On one side, you've got this weak spirit. It bargains for a different life, it gets broken by what it can't change, it resents the past, and it sees any kind of suffering as just a terrible curse. But what's the alternative? What does the other side of this coin look like? And this brings us to the game changer, the powerful alternative, what our source calls the joyous, stronger spirit. And right here, this is the massive difference. The stronger spirit doesn't just grit its teeth and endure hardship. It doesn't try to hide the ugly parts of its story. It goes one incredible step further. It learns to love it. It loves what was necessary. And now we can fill in the other side of our chart. And wow, just look at this contrast. Where one spirit bargains, the other loves what's necessary. Where one is broken by catastrophe, the other finds the raw material to build with. Instead of resenting the past, it says yes to absolutely everything. And this is the kicker. It doesn't see suffering as a curse, but as something indispensable, something it couldn't have done without. So how in the world does that happen? How do you actually turn a disaster into a defining feature of your character? Well, the source gives us this absolutely beautiful metaphor for this whole process. There it is. Just think about that for a second. Imagine all the challenges and hardships in your life. They're like a big, jagged, raw block of rock. The stronger spirit doesn't just see an ugly obstacle. It sees the very material it needs to create something. It takes that raw rock of fate and starts carving it into the polished statue of its own character. It's an act of creation. So we can kind of break down this creative process. It all starts with the raw experience, right? The error, the suffering, the shame. Step 2 is this huge mental shift. You start to see that experience not as a mistake, but as indispensable. Then you begin to truly understand that it had to happen for you to become who you are now. And that's a final step. You use that powerful understanding to consciously forge your own character. This drives the point home perfectly with another great image. You say yes to your shipwrecks. Why? Because you can't become a master navigator by only sailing on calm seas. The triumph of navigating the storm is meaningless if there was never a storm to begin with. The failure and the success are totally connected. So when you put this all together, what does a life lived this way actually feel like? Well, our source wraps everything up with one last, really elegant metaphor that just ties it all together.
Imagine your entire life, not as a random series of events, but as a single, cohesive piece of music, a grand symphony. And every single moment, every experience is just another note in that amazing composition. Now think about a real symphony. It's not just made up of easy, pleasant sounds, right? It has tension. It has clashing, dissonant notes. Those are your struggles, your pain, your shipwrecks. But in the context of the entire musical piece, those jarring notes are absolutely necessary. They create the tension and the drama that make that final triumphant chord feel so incredibly powerful and beautiful. And so, I'll leave you with this to think about. Take a moment and consider your own life, your own story. What if you could reframe it? What if your greatest struggles, the moments you're least proud of, the things you wish you could erase, what if they weren't mistakes at all? What if they were actually the most beautiful, the most necessary notes in your personal symphony?